look, we all know the twist, right? We all know that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
What?
Here is the thing, because this was maybe the most fascinating, compelling rewatch of a movie. I don't know if I've seen this movie since it came out, because movies with a twist, you typically don't rewatch them once you know the twist. And in this case, that was a freaking mistake, because here's the two things I want to say first of all about Sixth Sense. When I watched it in high school, I'm not ashamed to admit it, this movie scared the shit out of me. I couldn't sleep at night. I was having two movies that I remember literally keeping me up at night, and I could not close my eyes. Number one, The Fugitive, because I am terrified of home invasion, and I was young. Number two,
I love that.
Number two, The Sixth Sense. I came home, saw it in the theater with a bunch of friends. Came home, I could not close.
Saw it in the theaters when you were young?
Yes,
That was scary.
and I didn't know the twist. I didn't know anything.
Oh.
Because as in the great book, Best Movie Year Ever, which inspired this 1999 series we're doing by Brian Rafferty, get this book, he mentions that like even M. Night Shyamalan was kind of surprised that like there was this weird like cultural like pact that emerged. People didn't give away the ending, and the internet is happening. It's still in its early stages, but people sort of like weirdly agreed that we're not going to give away the ending, and it became like very sort of, you know, like don't give away the ending, and people kind of abided by it, and that's really helped the movie in its opening weeks to develop an audience and make such a big return at the box office. Was people kept mum about the ending.
They did.
And now it's become, you know, almost a joke, but it was at the time, you know, I had no idea going in what the twist was. I didn't know any of that. But the movie scared the shit out of me. You see a lot of like dead people, dead ghosts, et cetera, et cetera. But rewatching it, oh my God. I don't know if there's any movie that the meaning of which changes more when you know the twist. Watching this movie knowing the twist, the entire tone and meaning of the movie changes. The movie on this rewatch was like watching like an elegy. It was like a sad, mournful movie, because what you realize, like, Joe, I literally was like tearing up watching Bruce Willis like go about his job, not knowing that he's dead. Like all these little like scenes of him like going in the basement of his house and going through his notes and carrying his briefcase around and all of these, like he thinks he's just on the job, and I was like, baby, you're gone. You're no more. None of this is anything. Like you're dead. And
right.
Like
it's not scary, it's sad.
It's so sad. It is maybe like the saddest movie I've ever seen. I was like,
so sad.
it is so touchingly sad watching him. And then there's two like Everest and K2. There is two peaks of sadness in this movie. There is watching Bruce Willis not know he's dead, go about his job with complete like sincerity and intention. And then Haley Joel, this kid that like never, like, has a kid ever carried more weight in a movie than this kid has to carry around? Because they don't show you, I didn't remember this, you don't see a ghost until the like 55-minute mark. So up until the 55-minute mark, you don't know what's going on with this kid. You don't know if it's in his head.
Because the first twist is I see dead people.
The first twist is I see dead people, and then you actually start seeing the dead people. And then when you find out what this kid is experiencing minute by minute on a daily basis, oh my God, this poor child. Everywhere he turns, he is seeing people hanging from nooses and abused housewives that killed themselves, like running at him in the middle of the night.
It's a tough go.
Kids who are being poisoned by their like Baron Munchausen moms, like barfing in his safety tent. This kid is living a fucking nightmare, and it's the most stirring performance by a child actor ever. Haley Joel Osment's giving it everything, and when these two things sort of click, this movie, Joe, and it was not sad in a way where I was like, I can't watch this. This is too sad. It drew me in by how sad it was. I was so stirred, and I just wanted these, because you also realize as the sadness reveals itself, another arc reveals itself, which is like you start to see how these characters are going to like heal. The healing arc starts to reveal itself almost at the same time that you're getting so sad, but then you start to see, oh, the redemption is Bruce Willis is he is still on the job because he's the only guy that can help this kid, because he's the like every other ghost is just like, blah, I'm dead, I'm fucking crazy and I died. And then Bruce Willis is a therapist, a child psychologist who's dead, and so he's trying to help Haley Joel Osment. And it's so funny watching the progression, because in the early scenes, you know, on the rewatch, you know what Haley Joel Osment's thinking. He's watching this guy who thinks he's at work, and he's like, "Bro, you're dead. This is not happening.
You can visit me again if you want." Right?
You're dead. This is not. But then the more they talk, he still has the mind of a child psychologist. So this is the one ghost that can actually be helpful towards him. And he's a child psychologist who's going through his own trauma, because Bruce Willis thinks that his wife has sort of shut him out and is betraying him after he got shot, not knowing that he's dead, and she doesn't know he's there, right? And so he's going through his own trauma and his own pain. And so he not only does he have the knowledge of a child psychologist, he also has personal trauma and pain. And so they become the only people that can help each other. And so that's what sort of saves it from becoming unbearably sad, is you start to see where the redemption is going to happen, where the healing is going to happen, and you just riding that wave of something so unbearably sad that's slowly getting better. Joe, what better cinematic experience is there than being on the crest of those two waves as they're happening simultaneously? You're so sad, but there's hope. Oh, that's just the sweet spot, man. That's where movies live. It is just fucking great. Brett. And Toni Collette is killing it. I was just
about to say.
And we get our second Olivia Williams of the night.
It was her year.
Olivia Williams in Rushmore and in The Sixth Sense, doing great work in a tricky role. And oh man, all the little tricks on the rewatch, because the one thing on the rewatch was I was like, but how did they do that dinner scene where he goes to meet her for dinner? Like, how do they execute that?
Right. No,
right?
It's
they
perfect.
Kill it.
It's perfect.
Because there's a moment where it's so subtle. There's a moment where she raises her head to look at him, right? And in the moment, if you're watching it for the first time, you would think that she is looking at him because he's talking. But then on the rewatch, there's a subtle little Foley of someone dropping a dish in the background, and then you realize that's what was look, all I can say is M. Night thought of every fucking angle, and this twist works, and every detail is thought of. The twist works phenomenally.